Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into a really breathtaking, high-stakes moment from Dr. Saheed Opiemi Adebisi's epic fantasy, Akanbi, Child of Destiny. We're going to unpack Akanbi's choice and look at the profound universal lesson it teaches us about the true price of destiny. Because, this isn't just your typical fantasy story. It's actually a deeply resonant look at what we absolutely have to give up in order to become who we're meant to be.
And I think this Yoruba proverb perfectly sets the stage for us. If you wish to eat the yam, you must be willing to dig. It's whispering a pretty harsh truth right from the jump. Our young hero, Akanbi, is about to learn this in the most agonizing way possible. You just don't gain anything of profound value without an equally profound loss.
So to really understand Akanbi's ultimate choice, we kind of have to get into his headspace first. We catch up with Akanbi and his companion, Akanda, as they're moving like ghosts through this incredibly watchful silent forest. They are totally humbled, and honestly, they're terrified. They've just barely survived the absolute horrors of the River of Spears, and you can tell they're still shaken by those lingering, chilling echoes of drowned spirits. The forest they're trekking through isn't peaceful at all. It's thick with a really heavy, observant silence.
But something has changed in him. Stripped of all that former arrogance we saw earlier in the story, Akanbi is experiencing this totally newfound humility. He's finally learning to truly listen with his spirit. He isn't just frantically scanning for the next physical threat anymore. Instead, he's actually noticing a single trembling drop of dew on a web. He's hearing the layered symphony of birdsong like it's a living language. He's feeling the minute tremors in a leaf. All that old ego has been completely scoured away, leaving this raw, receptive reverence for the natural world.
Well, of course, this being Akanbi's journey, that peaceful emergence doesn't last. The lush woodlands suddenly ramps up into a harsh, primordial landscape. They crest this wind-blasted ridge, and the world just ends. They find themselves standing at the ALPHACEE, the Chasm of Winds. It's this jaw-dropping, mist-shrouded abyss, howling with a ceaseless, untamed tempest. It is an environment of pure elemental power that literally vibrates right into your bones. 2. That is exactly how many imposing figures are guarding the only crossing over this terrifying abyss, a skeletal bridge of black rock that leads to a sun-drenched, golden land. This bridge is the ultimate threshold to the sacred heart of Igbo Nla, the very destination Akanbi has been risking his life for. But as we're about to see, crossing it is not going to be easy.
These are the Ibora, and we aren't talking about standard statues carved by mortal hands here. These are faceless giants that have literally coalesced from the living, ancient rock itself. They stand there with their arms crossed, radiating this absolute judgment and profound stillness. And they demand a terrifying toll for passage into the Golden Lands.
So Akanda, stepping up as the conduit to the spirit world, communes with these silent titans. And when she finishes, she turns back and delivers a completely devastating ultimatum to Akanbi, basically asking, what is the cost of your true destiny? To cross over, he must freely sacrifice the one anchor that tethers him most fiercely to his past. The bridge is open to them, but the price is a sacrifice of profound, irreplaceable value.
So, what is this ultimate sacrifice? Well, the Guardians don't want his meager food rations. They absolutely don't care about Akanda's precious medicinal herbs. No, they demand Akanbi's iron knife. This cold iron blade sheathed at his waist is literally the very last physical tether he has to his father, Babatunde, and his dusty home village of Okeita.
And we have to remember, this knife isn't just some standard tool for cutting vines. It's the burden of the blade. It's the physical embodiment of his entire, incredibly complex history. It holds all the memories of that sweltering, smoke-choked forge where his father taught him. It carries the crushing weight of his father's suffocating expectations, but also, those rare, fleeting sparks of paternal pride. It's the ultimate symbol of his agonizing rebellion and flight. It's his history, his burden, and his shield all wrapped into one.
Akanbi desperately wants to hold on to it. It is quite literally all he has left of who he was. But Akanda breaks it down with this painful truth. They do not covet the iron. They demand the attachment. The Ibora couldn't care less about the metal craftsmanship. They're demanding that he surrender the invisible, soul-crushing weight of his past. To step fully unburdened into his new world, he has to willingly dig up the precious roots of his old identity. So facing the golden land of his destiny, Akanbi makes his choice. In what is just a massive, agonizing leap of faith, he draws the cold iron.
He holds it aloft in that high-altitude sunlight, this really tragic farewell to the boy he was, the blacksmith's son. And then, with all of his strength and grief, he hurls his entire history straight into the hungry, howling void of the chasm.
For a terrifying, almost deafening moment, absolutely nothing happens. You can just imagine the panic. But then, the earth itself trembles, like ancient tectonic plates shifting beneath them. The stone guardians slowly, majestically step aside. That ferocious, bone-rattling wind instantly dies down to a gentle breeze. And finally, the mists part to reveal the radiant golden path forward. They accepted his sacrifice. As Akanbi and Akanda cross that obsidian bridge into the sweet, fragrant air of this entirely new land, there's this incredible, palpable transformation. Akanbi feels those invisible, leaden chains of his father's disappointment finally sever completely. He is unburdened. The heavy weight of being the failed son is just washed away, and he steps onto the far side, reborn and truly free. And the universe actually responds to this massive sacrifice. Right there on the other side, half buried in the rich, fragrant soil, he finds a new blade. Think about the contrast here. The old knife was a relic of memory and heavy expectations. This new blade? It's forged from this dark, alien metal that literally drinks in the golden light. There's no history of failure or disappointment etched into it, just pure, elegant function. It is exactly the tool he needs for an untethered, completely uncharted future.
Section 2. The Universal Truth.
Stepping out of Akambi's epic narrative for a moment, we hit the philosophical core of Dr. Adebisi's story. The text tells us, true, unshakable freedom is only attainable through the courageous sacrifice of the anchors that bind us to our past. The really profound truth here is that holding on to those comforting, familiar chains of our past identity is the exact thing actively preventing us from grasping the magnificent possibilities of our future.
This is what we can call the exchange of destiny. When you courageously sacrifice your cherished burdens and familiar chains, the universe actually honors that profound act of letting go. It doesn't just leave you empty-handed, it gives you entirely new tools and strengths, precisely what you need for what's coming next. Just like Akanbi trading the heavy iron of expectation for the unburdened blade of his destiny, we too can step into a totally limitless self.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a real burning question to think about today. What heavy iron anchor are you still carrying that is keeping you from crossing your own bridge? What old, familiar chain are you clinging to? And what beautiful, golden new destiny is just waiting for you when you finally find the courage to let it fall into the abyss? Think about it. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the Chasm of Winds.